We're in a particularly intense period of the Jewish calendar, 2 months, starting from Rosh Chodesh Elul, all the way through to Hashanah Rabbah. We've been hearing the shofar every morning, saying Slichot, and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. And the prophet Isaiah tells us that we should use this time, Dirshu Hashem Behimatzor, seek God when he can be found. The question is, if God is omniscient and omnipotent, that he is in all places at all times, how is it possible for us to seek God at a particular time or in a particular place? In order to answer this question, we have to look at the word dirshu, which we use and translate as to seek. And the first time it's used in the Torah is in Bereshit, Genesis chapter 25, when Rebekah, after being barren, is pregnant with Jacob and Esau. And all is not going to plan for her. And we're told that the boys, v'yitzrotzatu habanim b'kirba, the boys were struggling, fighting with each other inside her. And she says, why did this happen to me? At which point we're told that she goes, lidrosh et Hashem. And the commentators tell us that she went physically, spiritually, to go and talk to God. She had a meeting with God when she's going to ask him why she waited so long to become pregnant and why it wasn't going well. And lidrosh in this case is an example of somebody going physically, spiritually to meet with God. And that's something we find in Tanakh, the Avot, the Imahot and prophets. However, later on in the Torah, in Ezra, in chapter 7, Ezra uses the word differently. He says that lidrosh is to learn Torah and in order to teach it. And lidrosh is no longer used as a meeting with God, as a discussion with God, but rather as a learning of Torah. So when we learn Torah, the question is, how do we do it, and how does it bring us closer to God? And it reminded me of a fantastic book by Erich Fromm, the amazing polymath from the last century, who wrote a book called To Have and To Be. He says that most of our learning in school and beyond is just so that we can have things. We have a degree, we have A-levels, we have GCSEs, we read books so that we can tell people that we've read books. And really we should be reading books, being, in the being mode. And he explains that this is reading a book with sensitivity, this is reading a book critically, and this is reading a book so that it has an impact on me and it changes me. On the perek of Genesis, where Rebekah meets with God, there was a fantastic essay on the 929 website. The 929 website is a great program designed so that we read one chapter every day of Tanakh. There are 929 chapters, and we can read the whole of Tanakh over a couple of years. And in the essay, we're told the following. In many ways, the Torah serves as an awesome, tangible manifestation of God. And that textual cord uniting heaven and earth can be the most precious thing in the world. The beauty of Judaism's text-centeredness renders our connection to God portable. We can have access to God in every conceivable circumstance. But sometimes we can become so focused on Torah that we lose any sense of the reality of God, and we run the risk of being text worshippers rather than God worshippers. If we interpret Torah without a sense that we are serving a God of love and kindness, our Torah may become stale at best and cruel at worst. Torah is supposed to be a bridge connecting us to a compassionate God, but we can become so focused on the bridge itself that we simply forget about what or who stands on the other side. The transformation of the word lidrosh from Rebecca's time to Ezra's to ours speaks to the transformation of communication with God. Rebecca went herself to inquire of God. For our inquiry, we go to God's book. What our forefathers heard from God, we hear from the Torah. In both cases, we must remember it is God's closeness and guidance for which we yearn. If we acknowledge that the texts that we learn are divine texts, and we interact with them in that way, then that is our way of seeking God, and he is in that way accessible to us. I just wanted to share one example of this from another fantastic book, Leaves of Faith, Rav Aaron Lichtenstein, where he wrote an essay called Why Learn Gemara? And he says the study of Agadah is vital both as an essential facet of Torah per se and as a stimulus to religious commitment. He quotes the Sifri, who says, "If you wish to know him who spoke and the world came into being, study Agadah, for thence you know God and cleave unto his ways." And of course, a significant segment of Shas, the Talmud, is accordingly composed of Agadic materials. My suggestion is that over this period, we choose a book that we think we should read or we want to read, and we learn a little bit of it every day with a sensitivity and a hope that it will change us, that we will be critical of it, and we hope that the year will be a sweet year. And I wish you all a Shana Tova Umetuka.